Hey guys, what's up? This is What the Tech, and MagSafe is back. Well, not entirely. If you're thinking about the MagSafe that was on our MacBooks, or now considered old MacBooks not too long ago, it's not that. But we'll get more into that later. Today, Apple held a virtual event where they officially unveiled, after lots of leaks and rumors, the all-new, brand new Apple HomePod Mini. I'm just kidding. We all know why we're here. New iPhones! Apple unveiled 4 new iPhones today: the iPhone 12 mini, iPhone 12, iPhone 12 Pro, and Pro Max, all of which now sport OLED displays, 5G, and millimeter waves for the US specifically, more durable glass front and back, and of course, they're going to come with the new A14 processor. And they'll feature Apple's newly revived branding, MagSafe. MagSafe is essentially wireless charging and magnetic accessories. They'll take advantage of the ring of magnets that will encircle the Qi wireless charging coil inside the new iPhones. It's pretty cool, honestly. It allows for a guaranteed snapping for wireless charging of your iPhone with Apple's own in-house solution. And honestly, they might have a point here. Sometimes you don't perfectly align it, and this should solve for that if you're a huge wireless charging fan, but just hate having to worry about lining it up properly. Now, to me, the best part about this whole MagSafe thing is, unlike the Lightning port, right? You don't need licensing in order to take advantage of a Lightning port. Any third-party manufacturer can make a whole bunch of knickknacks and accessories to take advantage of the new iPhones, well, the upcoming new iPhones, ring of magnets. Every single new iPhone today that Apple unveiled shares the same boxier design language of the iPhone 4 that we were first introduced to. And then we got reacquainted with the iPad Pro line. Starting first with the iPhone 12 mini and the 12, they're going to start at $699 and $799 respectively. For the first time, all of Apple's phones in the generation have OLED, so these will have them as well. Honestly, the non-Pros got a bigger upgrade comparatively, which explains the price increase from the 11 to the 12, since we have to note that the 12 is getting OLED and 5G. What's really cool about the iPhone 12 in my opinion is that Apple is taking care of a market that it seems like other phone vendors are starting to abandon. The iPhone 12 mini is the truest no-compromise iPhone that have Apple's latest processor, comprehensive 5G support, and the latest camera tech, all in that small 5.4-inch display. It does come a bit smaller than the iPhone SE, so Apple will officially have in its lineup a high-end small phone and a budget small phone. The iPhone 12s come in one less color this year as opposed to last year's 11, which are white, black, blue, green, and red. The green is pretty ugly. Fight me on that. The iPhone 12 Pro and Pro Max were also present in the event, and their improvements have largely been in the camera department. I mean, it's pretty much the main differentiating feature now because the feature parity between the Pro and non-Pro line is thinner than it was in the previous subsequent generation. Both last year's Pro models have been discontinued officially, and the price point starting for these new 12 Pros are going to be the same at $999 and $1,099. Plus, they also grew up and got a bit bigger. The 5.8-inch is now a larger 6.1-inch, and the 6.5-inch is a larger 6.7 display, thanks to a combination of increasing the physical size of the phone marginally and shaving the bezels a little bit more all around. They share the same design ethos as the non-Pro line, but they do have that stainless steel glisten on the side. Interestingly enough, the iPhone 12 Pros now start with 128 gigs of storage. My personal theory on why this is the case is because, as I mentioned earlier, that feature parity gap is so thin now that Apple's gonna have to figure out a way to incentivize consumers, like to get them to jump from non-Pro to Pro. And I think a good way to do that is to tell customers, hey, well, we're starting off with more storage anyways. So that is better bang for your buck, technically, but we already see some handhelds being shipped with 128 gigs starting, and they have a lower price point. Now, optics-wise, it does look like it's a pro-consumer move, but if you dig in a little deeper, you'll see between the weeds. The camera tech is even more impressed across the board, with hardware improvements seen on all models. But on the Pros, we have bigger lenses, faster apertures, larger sensors, and it doesn't stop there. The new LiDAR sensor that's present on the camera module that we first saw on the iPad Pro, while although can be used for productivity, and that is what Apple showcased, most people are probably going to notice it in the photography department. It allows for faster, more accurate autofocusing, and it will find itself especially useful in low light situations, because in low light situations, having a dedicated LiDAR sensor is actually going to help out significantly there, instead of just relying on what the sensors on the iPhone can tell. It looks like Apple took another commanding lead with video performance by having the title of being the first smartphone to record videos in Dolby Vision HDR, which, depending on how it actually works in person, could really make solid gains made by competitors not too long ago seem quite small in comparison. Of course, we actually have to see how it works in real life and see whether or not it's just branding and hype. Also, Apple Pro RAW seems pretty interesting for those that care, or maybe not care, but who can take advantage of it. Personally, it's not my forte, but for those who really are knee-deep in iPhone photography, this would be a great tool for you. The iPhone Pro line comes in 4 colors this year. The typical colors of space gray, graphite, silver, and gold, plus the brand new Pacific blue. The gold is shinier now, and the Pacific blue is better than the green last year in my opinion. This generation has a redesign that a lot of people were waiting for, and I think Apple really hit the nail here. A lot of folks were expecting this redesign to happen last year, but with Apple's new updated cycle of waiting 3 years for redesign, that wasn't going to happen. Unfortunately, for another year, we are still blessed with the notch. And although, yes, it is true, the notch does house very powerful and important sensors for Face ID to work, we have Android vendors moving on to more unobtrusive methods, as well as fingerprint readers getting more and more better under display. Xiaomi, a Chinese vendor, is already beginning the preliminary stages of mass production for an under-display camera, and once that gets out in the market, we'll see just how ready and how viable that technology is. Either way, my main gripe is we still have the notch, we'll probably have it next year, but maybe this is the beginning of the end. I hope. And also, technically speaking, the newer Pro models, right? They did get larger, so the notch would be comparatively smaller. Not physically smaller, but comparatively. Make no mistake though, the iPhone 12 is a very significant update that brings quality of life improvements, 5G, camera advancements, as well as a lot of horsepower under the hood. Anyone upgrading from a 10 and lower are probably going to enjoy this upgrade, and anyone that has a 10s and higher can probably wait it out, unless you really want that new design, because that's the cool thing about redesigned iPhones. It actually does kind of make sense to upgrade if you really care about that stuff. Oh, and there's a HomePod Mini with voice-based profiles. So nice job catching up to Google in that regard. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know what color iPhone you plan on getting. I might get Pacific Blue. It looks really cool.